What's up? I'm live on YouTube. I got a camera issue. There. Hopefully this fixes the camera issue. Yeah, you can fucking see me now. Isn't that great? All right, guys. Before I get too wasted, I decided I'm going to go ahead and try to conduct a live stream using StreamYards. And let's see if I can share an image. Fuck that. This whole conversation is going to be basically about how treaties are the law of the land in America. And essentially, not a lot of people rely on treaties as the supreme law of the land, even though they are the law of the land. I'm going to do something real quick. I'm going to close some windows just in case. Deflock.org. Check this out. What's up? Can you see me okay? Can you hear me okay? I just need to know. Hey, what's up? You're here. I appreciate you being here. Fucking Tiara Morris. Hi. How are you? Are you able to discuss this with me? This issue of international treaty law. Essentially, we're talking treaties that my main problem, right, is that America signs treaties and then they create these little stipulations at the end of them where the treaty itself will not be what's called self executing. You love my videos? Bullshit. I call lies. I call trolls. Hey guys, hey everybody, look at the chat and look at Tiara Morris's comments. I have no idea who this person is. I've never seen you before. You love my videos. Okay. All right. Thanks. Thank you. Well, thank you for finally chiming in. And I just want to, Tiara, since you're here with me now, I'd like it if you could help me and everyone else too. I'm going to try and share my screen and let me know if you can see the screen. Can you see that? You guys can see that, right? Is it clear? Just look, Tiara, forget about me for now and just look at the screen. And let me know if the actual fucking the words on the screen are clear. Can you read those? Can you see the words on the screen? Are they clear? This was the problem that I had in my last live stream. I was sharing on StreamYards. I'm using StreamYards right now, and I was sharing on StreamYards. Oh, you can? Okay. Well, I need confirmation from someone that doesn't actually appear trolly. Can I get away with saying that? I've just met you. I know you're probably not a troll. Okay, you're a troll if you don't know how to read. You're definitely a troll. Wow. What are we looking at here? Let's go back to what I'm looking at. So I had ChatGPT create this article. Yeah, you can see that shit, can't you? The constitutional validity of foreign relations dynamics of non self-executing treaty declarations. So the United States establishes the domestic legal status of international compacts in Article 6, Clause 2, universally designated as the Supremacy Clause. The text explicitly dictates that the Constitution, federal statutes enacted pursuant thereto, and all treaties which shall be made under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land, and the judges in every state shall be bound thereby. So that everybody knows, right? If in America, the judges in every state are bound by the treaties that the United States gets involved in. So let's do this real quick. I'm going to see if I can ask a question here. How many treaties is America a signatory on? Well, look and see. I have a poor internet connection, by the way, guys. So let me know if you're having any issues at all. I'm just going to go quickly back to the chat and see what's going on in there. I don't want to hear your jokes, dude. Not good. I'm good. I'm just waiting for this thing to fucking load. I got unresponsive pages. That's what's going on. Okay. All right. Well, that didn't work out. Okay. Well, let me just talk about it real quick. I'll just tell you what the fuck is going on. There's a treaty called the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. Watch this. I'm going to share the screen with you guys. Give me 1 second. Here it is. You guys can see that. This says, okay, so the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights is a major UN treaty. It was adopted on December 16th, 1966, and started on March 23rd, 1976. It makes countries protect basic human rights and civil liberties. It doesn't make them do it. No, it fucking doesn't. That's a fucking lie. Right to life, freedom, and freedom from torture. Freedom of speech, religion, and assembly. Right to be fair. Right to a fair trial and due process. Protection from unfair arrest or jail. Equal rights for men and women. Treaty facts. Created by the United Nations General Assembly, forms the International Bill of Human Rights under rights with other UN texts. Monitored by the UN Human Rights Committee. If you'd like, I can provide more details on specific articles within the treaty. Let's just ask it. How about this? No. Stop talking. There we go. The United States of America, a signatory? Question mark. Apparently, this is Google. Yes, the United States is a signatory and full state party. Check it out. The U.S. signed the covenant, which is a treaty, on October 5th, 1977, under President Jimmy Carter. The U.S. Senate later gave its advice, consent, and country formally ratified the treaty June 8th, 1992, under President George Bush, right? However, the U.S. participation includes major conditions known as reservations, guys. Reservations, what the fuck? Hold on. I'm pissed. Look, this is still typing my text into the chat box because I have this thing gone. Sorry about that. Okay, guys, look. Look at this. This is the part that fucking pisses me off, and this is what I wanted to fucking show you guys. This is the shit that pisses me off. Wep, dude, what the fuck, dude? Good to see you. How are you? Hopefully you're doing good. I think you're gonna really be intrigued by this shit, Wep. Look at this. I'm gonna show you something, Wep. This is gonna fuck your head up, I think, but not you, because you're used to a lot of shit. But let me get to the U.S. Constitution. All right, bug on this. Here we go. So this, check this out. Here we go. The provision establishing treaties as part of the supreme law of the land in America, right, is found in Article 4, Clause 2 of the U.S. Constitution, commonly known as the Supremacy Clause. It declares that the Constitution, federal laws made in pursuance thereof, and all U.S. treaties are the supreme law of the land, binding state judges despite any conflicting state laws. Isn't that neat? Binding state judges despite any conflicting state laws. It's binding, and it's the fucking supreme law of the land. Now, let's go back. Let's go back to Google, or back over to whatever this is. I'm not sure if this is, yeah, apparently this is Gemini. Yeah, so yes, the United States is a signatory to this International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. What the fuck? What the fuck? All right. Now, here's the fucking trippy part right here. It says the U.S. signed the covenant, right? But the U.S. participation includes a major condition known as reservations, guys, understandings and declarations, or RUDs. Non-self-executing declaration. The U.S., check this out. This is how fucked up the American government is. The U.S., whereby you have this, look at this. Look at this. Let me show you again. Let me show you again. Where you have this, it's the fucking goddamn Supremacy Clause. It's supreme, right? It's the supreme law of the land. It declares that the Constitution, the federal laws, and the treaties are the supreme law of the land, you guys. Supreme law of the land. But then when you go over here and you look a little bit deeper, you see that the American fucking oligarchs, or whatever you want to call them, right? Politicians, they can create declarations, understandings, and reservations according to those treaties. On those treaties, they can say non-self-executing declarations. The U.S. declared that the treaty clauses are not self-executing, which basically means, guys, you know what that means? It means that they don't fucking apply. The treaty doesn't apply unless one of the states creates a law enacting it and making it actionable. That's fucking ridiculous. How the fuck can Congress use their authority, right, to create a declaration, right, that essentially completely violates, completely eradicates, and disappears a part of the Constitution, such as the treaties being the law of the land? And why would I be so concerned about the treaty and needing to use it as the supreme law of the land? And why did the founding fathers, in all of their wisdom, how come they knew to actually include the treaties as the supreme law of the land? Why would they include that if treaties were not supposed to be the supreme law of the land here in America? They included it in the fucking Constitution because it's supposed to be the supreme law of the land. And what I'm saying to you is, how is it that Congress gets to go around and create this right here? Non-self-executing. Are you looking? This treaty, known as the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. Where is it at? Right here. The International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights is a major U.S. treaty, and the key rights are right to life, and freedom from torture, freedom of speech, religion and assembly, right to a fair and trial by and due process. We have all that shit in America under the Constitution. Protection from unfair arrest or jail, equal rights for men and women. All this shit already supposedly exists in our system. And this is why Congress gets to go ahead and nullify the treaties that America gets into when they just decide, you know what, we got laws already that are on the books that secure everybody's rights in a way that, guarantees freedom of speech, right to a fair trial and due process, protection from unfair arrest or jail. Like all of that shit's already in our Constitution. If the people want, they can just go to the Constitution and they can use what laws we already have in place. And we don't need this treaty to be executable in the United States. We don't need it. So what we're going to do is we're going to create. No, no, no. I got to stop sharing that and I got to share this instead. Hold on, guys. Sorry about that. Yeah. I think this one. All right. Oh, self-executing versus non-self-executing. That's the whole thing right there, guys. It's fucking bullshit, is what it is. All right, let's get back to this. Let's get back to this. I know that you guys don't give a fuck about this. Nobody does. Why does anyone care about this? Well, it's because I'm trying to show you that that Congress created this thing known as RUDs as it relates to treaties, and they don't, you know, they're non-self executing. In other words, they don't apply in America, even though they are the supreme law of the land. What kind of shit is that? I'm going to the chat now to look and see what you guys are talking about. No one gives a fuck. Nobody fucking gives a fuck. Wep, can I get some comments from anybody in the chat about this shit? I'm getting rid of this other person over here. Wep, are you still here? I need your comments on this shit, dude, because, bro, you got a fucking good brain on your shoulders. This shit is fucked up, you guys. How is it? It blows my mind. It blows my mind. We have the Constitution, which is the supreme law of the land. It is what gives power to police. It's what gives power to the courts. The Constitution, by the people, accordingly gives power to all of the agencies, all of the different branches of government, right? And it actually clearly states that the supreme law of the land can also be treaties. Thank you for being here, Webb. If a treaty, and help me make sure that my logic is correct on this and that I'm not like barking up the wrong logic tree. Isn't there something wrong with this? How can Congress circumvent the supremacy clause by creating RUDs? Web, help me out with that shit. I just explained what an RUD is, and I'll go back and do it again for anybody that's just tuning in or that doesn't understand. I'm sharing this screen above with you guys, and you can see it right here. Look, yes, treaties are the law of the land, but apparently U.S. participation includes major conditions known as reservations, understandings, and declarations. Since when did Congress have the authority to create these things that make the treaties non-executable in the United States? Webb, hello. I'm just looking for answers. I'm gonna bring you up if you want to come up. Webb, do you want to come up, bro? What the fuck? This shit pisses me off, dude. I'm gonna share the link, guys, in the chat. If you guys want to come up and answer questions or talk to me about this, I would love to hear from you guys. Not for tonight? Okay, Web. That's fine. Can you chat with me about it, though? Can you just, like, type in your thoughts in the chat? That would fucking help me out quite a bit. Web, just let me know if you think that there's something wrong with this fucking picture. Treaties are supposed to be the supreme law of the land under the Constitution. Congress then creates RUDs. Let's read what RUDs are again. Reservations, understandings, and declarations, right? So they reserve rights and they have particular understandings and they declare, right? So I think, right, that which one do you think it is? Is it a reservation, an understanding, or a declaration? When Congress goes in and stipulates that this treaty isn't executable because we declare, right, that it's not self-executing. Okay, well, who gave you the authority to declare that it was not self-executing? That's fucking bullshit. Let me read your comment real quick. Webb said, yes, I can. I still think Section 8 trumps everything you've talked about. Section 8 of Article 6? Hold on, let me look. Are you talking about Article 6? Let's see. Hopefully you're right. There's no Section 8. What are you talking about? Webb, what are you talking about? Help me understand, bro. Because I cannot understand how, if treaties are the law of the land, is the treaty the treaty after it's a treaty with America after it's signed, and after it's signed, that includes the RUD, right? The reservation, understanding, and the declaration. Oh, Article 1, Section 8? All right, let me look. Hold on. I actually meant, what is Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution? So Article 1, Section 8 is this. It lists the specific powers given to Congress. It explains what the legislative branch is allowed to do, such as collect taxes, regulate trade, declare war, and make money. It ends with the necessary and proper. Oh, you think necessary and proper clause? Is that what you think? You think it's necessary and proper for the fucking... Hold on. Webb. You think it's necessary and proper? I'm having internet issues. Sorry, guys. I'm having internet issues. It's fucking slow. I'm cracking up. Bullshit. I got you. I've got the Article 1, Section 8 pulled up. It's right here. It's Article 1, Section 8, talking about the specific powers that Congress has. And it's talking about something about necessary and proper. Is that what you're talking about? Necessary and proper, Webb? Just waiting on your answer, bud. Because I don't think it's fucking proper. Not at all. I don't think any one of the people in the United States would think it's proper. Let me show you some of the provisions. Hold on a second. Let's show this. Here's Webb's comment. Appreciate you, buddy. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17. Federal Capital District not exceeding 10 miles. Damn, you know what? That begs questions, bro. Your answer begs a lot of questions, dude. Honestly. It's cool because I like talking to you, so I actually don't mind asking the question. But my question is, are you saying that the treaty only applies to the fucking 10 square mile area of Congress and where Washington, D.C. is? It doesn't apply to the several states? I disagree. It has to apply to the states. And the reason why is the specific and particular language of not Article 1, Section 8, but of Article 6, Clause 2. Okay? Specific language. specific language of Article 6, Clause 2. Here it is. It says, well, it's not the actual fucking goddamn article. Let me just here it is here, okay? Here, maybe this will be, here we go. This Constitution and the laws, blah, 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 and all treaties made, right? All treaties made shall be the supreme law of the land and the judges in every state. Yeah, so it doesn't matter if the shit was, you think it was applied from your comment, Web. You're trying to say that you think it applies only to the 10 square mile, but the actual clause 2 of Article 6 states that it applies in every state. So it can't just simply apply only to the 10 square mile, bro. I lost connection. What the fuck? Okay, anyway, let me see this. Same shall be for the election in forts, magazines, arsenal docks, yards, and other needful buildings. I don't think that applies, bro. That's a misapplication of the Constitution, in my opinion. Anyway, I'm not here to debate you, Web. I'm only here to talk about this. I'm not getting anybody in here right now. I'm being straight shadow banned. Ain't nobody in here wanting to watch this shit. Nobody gives a fuck about this. But this is some real shit right here. This is real. It's real shit. That I'm just pissed, man. I'm gonna do more and more of these, dude. Of these streams, these types of streams. I've got a bunch of other shit to talk about too, but this one I've been wanting to talk about for a minute. Let me show you some of the provisions in the ICCPR. The ICCPR, guys, is this. It's the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. And I just want to go to it right now. Let's look at it. Let's just look at it real quick. Here's the preamble. Here's part 1. Here's part 1. Check this out, guys. Part 1 of the ICCPR. And this is a fucking treaty that America is currently signed to. It's called the ICCPR, the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. Check it out. We're signed to this. 1966, December 16th. Just looking at the top parts. But if you go down here to Article 1, you can plainly see, right, all people, it doesn't say person, it says all people, have the right of self-determination. I get to determine the direction of my life. By virtue of that right, they freely determine their political Really? I get to freely determine my political status and freely pursue economic, social, and cultural development? At least under the motherfucking ICCPR, I get to do that, right? But not under American law. No. Under American law, you don't have those rights. Oh, wait, you do. It's in every single constitution, right? Oh, yeah, that's right. The Declaration of Rights and all the constitutions, they say that you have the inalienable rights to do all this other shit that supposedly set you apart and give you freedom and all this, right? Inalienable rights. And is that why Congress declared that this is not self-executing? I just don't get it. Like, I'm bringing up a lot of shit. I get that, and I get that it's going to be confusing for some people to grasp. That's why I want to only focus and hone in on like the one certain issue that I know is like a real valid concern. I think for me, and would be a concern for a lot of other people, that Congress had no authority. Congress has no authority to create RUDs that stop treaties from having legal effect in America. They don't. How the fuck does Congress, especially if the treaty is, in other words, if it's, America shouldn't be signing treaties after creating non-self-executing provisions or declarations or resolutions or understandings. I think it's bullshit that Congress gets to fucking sit here and create a resolution or a declaration that says this treaty is non-self-executing. That's bullshit. What that does is it completely fucking takes away from the power of the U.S. Constitution's Supremacy Clause, allowing the treaty to be the law of the land. It's bullshit. I want this. I want this protection right here. I want Article 1 protections. I want this. Look at number 2, guys. Look at number 2 of Article 1 of the ICCPR. All people may for their own ends freely dispose of their natural wealth and resources without prejudice to any obligations arising out of international economic cooperation based upon the principle of mutual benefit and international law. Check this out. In no case may a people be deprived of its own means of subsistence. What? What? You mean to tell me that no state can deprive its people of its own means of subsistence? Meaning like farming? You're depriving me of farming through regulations. You're depriving me of the right to travel through regulations. You're depriving me of being able to feed my neighborhood through regulations. You're depriving me of helping people through regulations. You are full of shit. The United States government is a fucking tyranny right now. It's disgusting. I'm going to read your comment, Web. And to exercise like authority over all places, purchases by the consent of the legislature. I don't see how that applies. I see your comment in the chat, Web. That's dealing with property purchase and lands purchased. It has nothing to do with the implementation of international treaties, dude, in America. Although, Web, I admire your work. I went to your channel. I saw your videos. You do a lot of great work. The way that you articulate things, I appreciate. You have a gift that I don't have that I wish I had, and that is the ability to articulate in a very succinct way. I can do it, but I get excited, bro. You stay calm. That's the difference between you and me. What you're on. What you're on. Is that a statement or a question? Hold on. Oh, you're talking about Article 1? I'm so glad that you can fucking see the goddamn stream, though. This is great. I'm going to be doing this again, guys. I'm going to be doing this again. I have 12% left on my computer, but we're going to do this whole entire thing again. We're going to talk about the fucking treaty, and I'm going to do this again. We're going to talk about other issues. Oh, I see what you're saying. The land you're on is owned by the corporate 12 square miles. Okay. I know that might be the case, Web. Okay, but you haven't created a nexus with your, in my opinion, you haven't created a nexus that ties your logic into answering my question about what gives Congress the authority to create RUDs that effectively nullify the treaty application in the United States when the treaty is actually supposed to be the supreme law of the land. And if we have treaties like the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights and the Declaration of Human Rights and shit like that, like that the United States is signatory to, like, I don't think Congress should have the authority to go in there and create resolutions, understandings, or declarations that effectively nullify, those treaties. And so that way people in the United States can't use the treaty. Like, what good is it, right, to create a treaty and then you sign the treaty, but nobody in America can fucking use it? Why do we have a fucking Article 6, Section 2? It doesn't make sense. I'm fucking out of here right now. I'll talk to you guys all later on the next one. Bye, Web. Thank you for being here.